Is it on? Okay. If you could please stand for the flag salute. Ready, begin. So welcome. It's really wonderful to see a full room, even though you're probably all here for one item. It still makes us feel good to see all these people here caring about education. So thank you for coming. Please remember to silence your cell phones and electronic devices. And tonight's meeting is being live streamed. So please speak into your microphone. If audience members would wish to address the board, please fill out a public comment form, which I have some right here, and give to Debbie. Public comment is taken for items not on the agenda for 5 minutes, and then later for public comment for items on the agenda at the time of the item. So report out from closed session.
Regarding item B3, it was regarding a claim, number 180175. It was moved by Trustee Mulgard, seconded by Trustee Fernandez to pay the claim. That motion was amended to include paying up to the amount insurance will not cover. The motion was approved via roll call vote with 5 yeses, 1 no, and absent Nelson, Trustee Nelson. Regarding claim number 180170, it was moved by Mulgard, seconded by Barrett to accept the claim. It was a roll call vote, 6-0. Absent was Trustee Nelson. On item B8, consideration of classified leave of absence, it was moved by Barrett, seconded by Monpere to approve the leave of absence request as presented, and that was approved via roll call vote 6-0. Absent was Trustee Nelson.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
We're not taking anything out?
We're not taking anything out, I'm aware of. Are we taking anything off the agenda? No.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Student advisory report. Spencer, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So we've had an update from October. My apologies from last meeting, but on September 17th, there was a leadership conference where over 20 schools from Sonoma and Mendocino counties participated and congregated and went over their leadership and ASB type of agendas and kind of their format to addressing how they put on different school events, etc. Homecoming also took place on the second week of October, and an upset was the sophomores won the Spirit Bell, which broke the senior streak, which was quite news, but very proud of that as well. Varsity volleyball won NBL's. Varsity football is going the second round of NCS playoffs currently. There's a Club Latino dance on November 2nd. Winter sports season has started, where boys and girls sports contains wrestling, soccer, and basketball. And from fall sports, several athletes won all-league positions this fall. To name 2 of them, Emma Dolan won varsity tennis, first team all-league, and Tanner Wetzel won varsity water polo, first team all-league, and also the Ukiah High record leading scorer in water polo as well. So, good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Arkin.
So Spencer, I'm wondering, how many of you people attended? How many of the kids went to the in Sonoma?
Oh, leadership conference, I would say there was probably in total over 200 kids there.
But I meant exactly from Ukiah.
Oh, from Ukiah.
Approximately.
Oh, from our
I'm sorry.
program. Yeah, we say approximately 55 around there. So,
Oh,
yeah, good class.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we're going to just do a quick little maneuvering so that Jack doesn't have to stay a long time here and be tempted to frolic with all these people. We're going to skip down to introduction of Ukiah Police Department's canine detection dog, Jack.
We are very excited to be presenting Officer DeLapo and his new friend, Jack. And before you get started, I just wanted to thank the Ukiah Police Department for all of your support of our schools and everything that you do to partner with us. He's already working, it looks like. Jack's going to be doing a demonstration.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you might as well just go ahead and start, because obviously he's already starting to work. This is Jack. I believe I'm sorry, Sean Kaiser, Police Department. I'm sorry that Chief Wyatt wasn't able to make it tonight. He's out of town. If you pay attention to Jack here, not me, it'll be easier for me, but Jack is a Springer Spaniel. He comes from Ireland, and he has just turned 2 years old. As I understand it, the last time that Chief Wyatt was here, he was informed you that the dog that we were looking at was Sally. After some further training and some further evaluation, obviously we chose Jack. Jack is very friendly, and as you can see, as many people in the audience also got to experience. So he is our new canine, and if you watch him, Tony, can you put him on the seam again? Yeah. If you can watch and pay attention, you'll notice that when Jack starts smelling something, he'll start pecking at it. Right there. So that's his alert. He's trained on all narcotics, and he's trained on firearms, finding firearms. Gunpowder, yes. We put that in about a half an hour ago.
Yeah. Marijuana. I was going to try and get a gun part for you guys, but it got cleaned. So, and yes, Jack is very excited. Jack's, as you can see, good boy. Jack. Good boy. And Jack loves his ball. As you can tell, that is his drive. That's his reward. Jack's trained for his drive to hunt, basically. And it's not so much
As you can see, that Jack is a big teddy bear, just like his handler.
And anybody, as you can tell, anybody that shows him any love and affection, he's stay with you.
Oh, he's trying to get up.
Just as a reminder to the board, we work in partnership with Ukiah Police Department. If Jack alerts on a locker, the administration handles the search. And so really, this is meant to be a deterrent to bringing drugs to campus and obviously anything related to guns. And we're really so grateful that Jack is trained to detect to hit on gunpowder. In this day and age, it's really, it makes me really happy that can be done as well. So we appreciate Ukiah Police Department, our partnership with you, and we're super happy to welcome Jack to our awesome Ukiah family.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
What a fun. Okay, thank you for that brief diversion. Now to C6, public comment for items not on the agenda. I do have one, Sofia Delgado. If you'd like to come up to the microphone here, you have 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes. And Nicole Glenser will set the timer, and when it goes off, if you're still talking, if you could conclude your comments.
So my name is Sofia Delgado. I'm in 8th grade at Eagle Peak Middle School. And this summer, I had the opportunity to participate in a week-long history program in Washington, D.C. Some places that I went to was the Holocaust Museum. I went to the Lincoln Memorial, the Arlington Memorial, and I got to see the White House. I got to learn about U.S. history, and this trip has taught me new ways to study about my country, and in 8th grade social studies I am on top of the game because I have learned many things and got to see museums that are an important meaning, and this experience has been really helpful for me because I've never been on a plane, and I got to meet new people and got to spend time with my teachers.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Sounds like a wonderful trip. Thank you for coming and sharing.
Yeah, and there was 40 to 50 students that went from the migrant education program. And
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Employee organizations, CSEA, looks like nobody's here today, and UTA looks like Marissa's filling in. I think you're off. Wait, I think it's off.
Okay, thank you. Hello, I'm Marissa Sizemore, and I am filling in for Terry today. She could not be here, so thank you very much for hearing my comments. So I just wanted to share that teachers have worked very hard in the past 2 weeks to finish up report cards at the elementary level in time for parent-teacher conferences, which started today. UTA finished our site visits to every site, and we heard some wonderful things about programs that are happening, some problems with math and language arts curriculum taking over 3 hours of instructional time daily and being very little time for other activities like social studies, art, and science. We are concerned with the large workload that our teachers are handling right now, and we do want the board to know that all the teachers are doing their best with the challenging curriculum and trying to keep a positive learning environment at every school. Our last site rep council meeting, we had a training. We spent the time learning how to represent our members better, and George Young led the training. He was helping answer questions and helping all of our reps feel more comfortable in their positions as union site reps. And UTA knows that the administration of UUSD supports our union, and we appreciate that, the opportunities that we have to bring concerns before they become major problems. And we are looking forward to working with the district to send teachers to the Good Teaching Conference in February. We're very excited that more teachers will be able to attend because of the matching funding from the district. And we thank Superintendent Deb Cuban for consulting with us on the SCG and LCAP in December, moving this earlier at the request of UTA from previous year. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have leadership team report with Eric Crawford, right, from UISA.
Good evening, and thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm going to get up to the presentation mode. I guess I'll just start. Next. Oh, right. Thank you. Forgot about the clicker. Okay, so what has leadership been up to in UISA? I'm here tonight to speak about UISA, obviously. And we've been working primarily on 3 different goals. And the first area is to continue our work in close reading and evidence-based writing. That was a huge focus last year, and our SBAC scores went up consequently. So we're continuing that effort, and we want to keep moving forward with that. The second one is with integrating more common core strategies in math, because that's an area that we identified from last year's SBAC scores that needs some attention. So as a faculty, we have come together and we focused on Algebra 1, because the majority of our faculty members have students who are in Algebra 1. And so we thought that would be a really good class to focus on and one easy for everyone to concentrate on. And then lastly, we've got student and teacher collaboration with or without technology, and the let me see, I've got an example of one of the activities that's done. It's called Stronger and Clearer. Oh, that wasn't for me. Okay, all right, it's still good. So anyway, there's an activity that some of our teachers use, and they have a student look at there's a whole list of sample prompts they can look at, and then they write their own response to that prompt. And then their work is to go out and talk to 3 other people while they're at home or in their neighborhood or at work, or just get 3 other people's opinions. And then they go back to their original response and see if their opinion has changed about the item that they were reading up on. And by doing that, when they're doing their writing, they have to quote statements that were made by one of the other people or many of the other people, and to show why it was that their statements helped either change or reinforce their original opinion. So we're using evidence-based writing and collaboration with either family members or community members to try to just increase the students' ability to do evidence-based writing. So that was it for slide 1. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this. Okay. Next, as I said earlier, our academic emphasis is on mathematics, and there are 3 main things that we've done so far this year. The first is one of our teachers outlined each chapter for Algebra 1, and because our students get about, on average, 10 minutes of instruction per class per week, because they meet with a teacher for 1 hour and there are 6 classes, easy math says that it's about 10 minutes per week of instruction. So math is one of those topics, as some of you may relate to, that is kind of difficult to learn on your own. So our teachers thought that if they could outline the chapters in the book and then identify some YouTube videos that were put up by other teachers, and they'd link the lesson from each section of the chapter with a YouTube video, so that when students are at home, they could click onto that if they didn't remember the instruction that they received from their teacher. So it's sort of like a Khan Academy, but put together by our instructors. So that's one thing that we've done. Second is another instructor worked out all of the problem sets for the tests and the chapter reviews from our book, and gave very detailed steps, because some of our teachers are stronger in English or in science and not necessarily in math. And so in order for all of the teachers to be able to address the needs of the students and make sure that they got good instruction, we made sure that there were outlined steps for all of the test questions. So that would help all the teachers and students. And then lastly, one of our teachers put together some pretty clear guidelines on how to get into Mendocino College. Is more or less a step-by-step action plan as to how to get in. When you take the placement exams, what the deadlines are, how you register. So that was a big effort. The reason why Mendocino College is relevant is because we encourage a lot of our students to take higher level math up at the college, just because, as I said earlier, math takes a lot of reinforcement in order to learn. And so if a student were trying to learn trig or calculus or even algebra 2 on their own on 10 minutes of instruction a week, it would be probably pretty difficult for them. So if they take it up at the college or as a hybrid class at Ukiah High School, then they would have more support and be able to be more successful. So that's why we highlighted the process for getting into Mendocino College, in case any students wanted to take the higher math up at the college. They would know how to do that. And for our campus culture, I want to give a shout out to Gabe Sherman and his grounds crew, because they did a lot of work for us. We have 4 new crepe myrtle trees and a whole bunch of perennials that are put in. And you can see we've got a lot of bark, and it makes the area much, much more inviting and much nicer than it had been in the past. I don't know how many of you have been on campus in the last 2 or 3 years, but that was all just really a big dirt bowl. I mean, there wasn't anything there. There was a lot of star thistle. We had a lot of star thistle, but that was about it. So now it looks really nice and inviting. And we reduce erosion by having the mulch there. And another large effort on campus is Issa Posner has taken on the task of trying to re-invite monarch butterflies to our area. Apparently, they used to always land here as they migrated from Canada to Mexico and then back up to Canada again, which took multiple generations, which is pretty amazing that they remember where they're going over generations. But in any case, she's trying to identify some plants that we can put in there that would be food sources for the monarch so that hopefully we can raise the population again. And I believe that's it.
Thank you. Any questions?
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, trustee Volkart.
I'm sorry, I do have a question, Mr. Crawford.
Yes, ma'am.
When does the construction grouping get to happen again?
Okay, so I'll put my other hat on.
Right.
Today we did our first recruitment visits, and actually one of them was to Redwood Academy. So some of the students here heard me speak earlier today, but so our recruitment started today. The applications are due on the 30th. We'll have interviews on December 4th. Instruction starts on the 15th of January. So we have 4 extra weeks this year. We put 4 more weeks in.
How many students do you hope to accommodate?
We're shooting for 25 again.
25.
That'll be a full cohort.
Do you need more funding? Do we need to, beat the bushes?
Well, last year there was some money put aside in the LCAP for us. And I think with that, and we have actually $16,000 left over from last year that we didn't spend. So, so I think with that and some community fundraising, that we'll be okay. And also, we're I can keep going on forever on this one. We also are part of a 5-county consortium now. So because Sonoma County started the year before last, we started last year. Now Lake, Marin, and Napa want to get on board because they've seen what a good job, or what has happened in the 2 areas that have already started. So they're going to jump on. So there was a grant that was written, it's called the Tipping Point Grant. And there was money that was dedicated to fire victims in our area and in Sonoma County and Napa. And so that money is going to go towards funding the extra 3 cohorts, and they're supporting us a bit too. So, so we have great community support, and we hope to have a great program again this year.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you. Donations. We have this month a donation from Gail Monpere to Ukiah, Mendocino College for winter plants for the school garden, and from Natural Foods Co-op to South Valley for a total of $663. Is there anyone who'd like to make a motion to approve those donations?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we're going to do a little maneuvering here too, just because there's a lot of people in the audience who may not want to stay, although you're welcome to stay to the bitter end because it won't be that long tonight. But we're going to move E1 up above D2. So we're going to jump to the public hearing regarding Redwood Academy's request for renewal of a Redwood Academy charter petition. I'm going to open the public hearing.
And we have our Director of Alternative Education and Special Projects, Scott Paulin, here to introduce this topic.
So Redwood Academy opened in September of 2000 and operated under the terms of its first charter through July of 2004. Since then, the board has granted 5-year renewals, authorizing the charter in 2009, 14, and 19. Redwood Academy has been working with me to submit their petition for an additional 5-year charter, and the principal of Redwood Academy is here to speak at the public hearing.
Hi, I'm Elna Gordon. I am Redwood Academy's principal, and I want to start by thanking all of you for your support of our school to date. Over the years, working with Dolores Bissett, Holly Rogers, and now Scott Paulin has been great. I feel really, really fortunate to be working in cooperation with Ukiah Unified to help provide the wonderful education options that currently exist in this community for students. As you know, we are here to request that you renew Redwood Academy's charter. I've worked at Redwood Academy since it opened in 2000, so as you might guess, this school does mean an awful lot to me. The past 18 years have been with sweat and tears. But I can say I'm very proud today of our providing a small supportive community that offers what I think is a solid college preparatory curriculum. Of course, I acknowledge that Redwood Academy is far from perfect, but for the students who choose to attend Redwood Academy, we work extremely hard to help them grow academically and personally. I guess I just hope that if renewed, we get the chance to continue to work tenaciously to meet our students' evolving needs and, of course, the state's evolving expectations, and, of course, stay focused on our school's mission, which is to prepare our students for college and independent living. I am really, really, really honored to work with a staff and students that believe in Redwood Academy as much as I do. We have what I believe is an absolutely amazing team. That's what makes us tick. Some of the most important members of that team, our students, are here tonight, and they would like to share their thoughts about our school with you. So in a moment, I'd like to turn the floor over to them, but I first want to just ask any of the board members if they have any questions or concerns about the petition that they would like me to address right now.
First, we'd like to do the public comment we received for this item.
Oh, okay, sure. So just hear the students.
Yeah, I
Okay,
have
great.
their slips if we'd like to do that first.
Sure, that sounds great.
I have 7 of them, I believe.
Okay, one of them was me,
Oh.
so you can remove me. Yeah.
And so we have a total usually of 15 minutes we like to allot, so we want to hear from everybody, but if you could keep your comments to less than 5 minutes, we would appreciate that. And excuse me if I mispronounce someone's name, but I believe our first one is Natalie Horrocks?
Natalie Horrocks, yeah.
Well, we're requesting less than 5 minutes because we don't want it to go half an hour, yeah. What's the will of the board here?
Sure, why don't you do 15 minutes and then we'll.
15 minutes, okay.
if we need to-
So it's not, that means the timer is not going to go off unless you speak for 15 minutes, but if you could just.
All right.
You take everyone's turn. That's up to you, but if you
All
could
right.
keep it briefer, then everyone will have a chance.
All right.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Natalie Horrocks. I'm currently a junior enrolled in Redwood Academy. I've been attending the school since 7th grade. This is now my 5th year. Due to the small size of Redwood Academy, the teachers are able to get to know each student on a more personal level, learning exactly what each particular student needs to improve and how to help them. Their devotion to the student body has been invaluable to myself personally. This one-on-one help has helped me excel and improve in all my academics throughout my 5 years attending Redwood Academy. I have been able to achieve Director's Honor Roll throughout all my years, as well as attend Mendocino College and take classes there as well. I believe that I am pretty prepared for college and what lies ahead in my life, and this is why I believe that Redwood Academy was the best choice for myself and should be an option for future students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to mispronounce this one. I can't quite read it. Is it Haravan's son?
It's just hard to read.
I can't read it if it's in.
I can't read it either. So.
It's okay, I go by Joy.
Joy?
Yeah.
I can go with that next time.
But-
Joy.
Hello, my name is Joy Sun, and I'm the current senior at Redwood Academy. And this year, I take the position as a student body vice president. I transferred to Redwood in my freshman year of high school. Everything seemed so challenging that I thought I would flunk my classes and drop out of high school altogether. However, after spending time with my peers and the school faculty, my feelings changed. Whenever I faced challenges in my classes, I could always find a teacher willing to help. It didn't matter if they taught the subject I had questions about, or if they even, were a teacher. I could always find help during school, long after school, and even sometimes on the weekends. Our school might not have the most programs or financial resources, but our school does have the strongest bonds and most dedicated, supportive teachers. Therefore, please renew our charter. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniela Michelle Loria.
Hello, everybody. My name is Daniela Loera. I'm currently a senior and the student council historian at Redwood Academy. Cool. Ever since the 4th grade, my mother has wanted me to attend Redwood Academy due to their focus on college preparation and her focus on my college acceptance. Originally, I was reluctant to go due to the extreme academic focus and small campus that connotes images of strict teachers and bland environments, something every child dreads. However, upon my arrival in the 7th grade, I soon realized that Redwood Academy was the exact opposite. The teachers are loving and kind, all motivated to push students to be the best version of themselves possible. They offer themselves up after school for help and to talk to struggling students to find a solution best fitted for every individual. Our small campus cultivates bonds between students and teachers alike. It offers a fun, safe, and academic environment for every person willing to put in effort and time into their future. Between mock rock, the pageant, the buddy program, our talent shows, and everything in between, students are offered the opportunity to advance their academics and have fun simultaneously. I'd love for generations to come to have the same opportunity we currently have. Please remember charter. Thank you.
Thank you. Bo Wendell?
Hello, my name is Bo Wendell. I'm currently a sophomore at Redwood Academy. I've been attending this school for 4 years, and I plan to continue going to Redwood Academy through my senior year. Redwood Academy is a small school that is very focused on academics and being college ready. The staff at Redwood Academy are very supportive of the students and go out of their way to encourage students to be their very best and to succeed. My favorite part of being at Redwood Academy is the family atmosphere, where staff and fellow students are always supporting each other. I really hope you choose to renew Redwood Academy's charter.
Thank you. Aaron Steger? Aaron?
Test. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Steger. I am a senior and the current student body president of Redwood Academy. Having been at Redwood Academy since the 7th grade, although reluctant at first, I'm immensely grateful for the opportunity to attend this school. Redwood has supported me and allowed me to focus on what I personally value, my education and success, while also providing unique opportunities I wouldn't find anywhere else. These opportunities include school-wide college trips, CSF organized college trips, the Outward Bound program, which I'm especially grateful for, and the school support of our senior trip fundraising and planning, which I eagerly look forward to this spring break. Whether it be our dedicated teachers, kind students, or shared goal of bettering ourselves and our futures, Redwood Academy is the place that I have grown to love. Although I have yet to graduate, I can say with confidence that Redwood Academy has been the right place for me. My story is one that many students here share and are fortunate to tell, and we would love for future students to have similar stories of their Redwood Academy experience. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Jennifer Mccauley? Jennifer?
My name's Jennifer Mccauley. My son Jonathan is a senior at Redwood Academy, and it's been a really good fit for our family. We homeschooled for a little while, and then our older son went to college, and the younger one needed to not be home alone as much and going to college. So he started attending there, and it's been fabulous. The teachers have wonderful relationships, like they've said. The principal and I have had many conversations about my son and his work ethic. And this year he actually made honor roll, right? This semester he did. So, the teachers are fabulous. They're dedicated. They've been there till 4 or 5 o'clock on a Friday evening when I picked him up from school. So we appreciate the school and we like having the choice. Thank you.
So thank you for your comments and thank you for being so respectful of the time limit. We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Are there comments, questions from the board?
And just to clarify to the board, we're having the public hearing tonight. This will come back at the next meeting for approval.
Trustee Van Sant.
Thank Thank you, and this probably is a question for you.
Yeah.
I appreciate hearing from the students, and I appreciate the comprehensive nature of the charter petition you put before us today. It's clear that you offer a really important and unique learning environment in our community, and I'm really glad that you're here.
Thanks.
And that's why what I'm going to say right now is so important, and I want to keep that in mind. One of the concerns that this board's expressed in the past is that the racial and ethnic balance at the school does not mirror the community. And you highlight that in your charter. You address that and you point out that it's not what you'd like it to be. And you explain some of the outreach activities you're doing to rectify that situation. What you wrote in your charter is that the school has consistently participated in additional outreach and advertising conducted at Nuestra Casa and by way of El Punto. 2 other times in the petition you refer to seeking ways to attract a diverse enrollment through bilingual speakers and events that attract students from the Spanish-speaking population, example, Nuestra Casa's family meeting nights. And later you refer again to posting bilingual flyers at places that are frequented by Spanish-speaking customers, for example, Nuestra Casa. So Nuestra Casa has been closed for at least 3 years, possibly 5. And for me, reading this, what I'm hearing is either this information is mistaken or this outreach isn't happening.
Right.
And the reason it's really important to me is that you're offering a benefit and a kind of learning environment that many of our Latino students would really benefit from. So by the failure to either tell us what you're actually doing or actually do that outreach, this is a detriment to our community. And so that part to me, especially since this board has raised it before, is of real concern.
Right.
Now, I want to finish though.
Okay.
Your charter is not at risk. I just want to reassure you. I'm not, you clearly offer an important thing here. But this to me needs to be corrected. And
Right.
it needs to be corrected in writing before I would vote yes at the next meeting.
Okay.
And so I want to be really clear about my intention here. It's not okay with me to not make that actual real outreach to that community because we are leaving families in our community that would like to be part of your school that may not know about it. And that's why I care.
Right.
I don't care about losing the students from like our district. I want to make sure that you're actually doing the outreach to reach those communities.
Right, and I think that's completely valid, Director Vincent. And so I'm going to say, first of all, as somebody that writes a myriad of reports, clearly this was my mistake. I wrote the petition 5 years ago, and we were doing consistent outreach 5 years ago with Nuestra Casa, and I rolled it over. And I made a myriad of changes and additions to this current petition, and that's clearly a change that I personally overlooked. I can assure you and the board members that we do outreach. My office manager, Sharon Ward, who is bilingual, does every summer distribute our Spanish flyers to businesses that we feel would attract more Spanish-speaking clientele. So the health clinics, Chavez Market, Nuestra Casa shouldn't have been on that list anymore at this point. We definitely have placed ads in El Punto the last few years during the summer months. We have also, when we have outreach booths, which I will admit our outreach booths, we don't do as much, but the outreach booths we have done in the last 5 years, we have both Spanish and English flyers and bilingual staff member there. So that's been at the Spring Carnival. And we did do the Grace Hudson Health Fair 1 year. So I agree with you that we could do more, without a doubt. And it is something that when I've looked into it, in terms of is there another charter school in this area that's achieving a racial and ethnic balance that mirrors the district, the answer has been no. Almost every charter school looks demographically identical to Redwood, except for our sister school, Accelerated Achievement Academy. They're the only ones that would come close, to my knowledge, of mirroring the district's demographics. And we already use the same exact outreach and enrollment processes that they use. So Solutions aren't easy for me to come by or haven't been easy for me to come by, but I would wholeheartedly agree with you that A, I need to change it in the petition because it's my oversight, and B, it is an area we can still work on. Is there any other questions or concerns?
Any other, Trustee Vincent?
I appreciate that response, and I look forward to seeing the demographics change. I mean, and you're not wrong. This is an issue we bring up with almost every charter school petition, so I know you're not alone in this challenge, but we have to find a way to do this better. And I know you don't have to report on it, but the demographics, it doesn't seem like you have to report on it because it's not in here, but the socioeconomically disadvantaged percentage in your school also does not mirror the district. So, and for some reason, that's not something you have to report on, but I just really encourage you to ask other people who might be knowledgeable about how to do this, how to do a good job of reaching those communities and having the demographics that better reflect our community.
Yeah, and I definitely have reached out, I can assure you, to the other charter school directors trying to figure out what it is that, do they know anything? We have not collectively found that solution yet, but we will keep looking. I think you're right. We want everybody to know that we're here, and we want to offer our school to anybody who would benefit from it.
Do you have bilingual staff that work in your front office?
Yes, our front office back there is fully bilingual. So, and we do have, I mean, obviously our 28% Hispanic population this year, they're very communicative with us. Our outreach to date in 18 years has largely been word of mouth. I will fully admit that my marketing, my savvy as a I have reached out to Jendi Corsi in the past for marketing ideas and things, but we could do some work on it. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Any other, Trustee Montpere?
Along the same lines, do you go to charter school conferences?
Yes.
And have you solicited information from other charter schools from different areas who might have come up with some ideas?
I've definitely been to conferences and, obtained information there, but I wouldn't say that I have reached out of this area to personally talk with directors. I guess here's my, and I would want to find a place that was very similar to Ukiah in terms of its obviously demographics and also, its rural location, because I think that that if I were to talk with somebody in an urban area, it's much different game that you're playing with regard to marketing and specifically making sure that everybody knows who you are. But that would be something that I could do.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Walgard?
I guess I would just like to address the students and make sure that they understand what the issue is, that it's a legal issue, that each charter school needs to reflect the composition of the entire district. And we all know that the Latinos are about 50% of our children ages 0 to 18 right now, so that's our goal for Redwood Academy as well. And then it's the adults have failed, so it's up to you now. So we need your best ideas, because it's also beyond a legal issue. It's also just a social issue. And we know that you're going to become higher functioning adults in a multicultural world if you have a better mix, and a mix that truly reflects our whole community as you're growing up and as you're learning and working in teams together and sharing in offices together and sharing work projects together. So hopefully you can think of those ideas, because we'll be expecting new information and more ideas and samples of what you've already done with the revised application that will be coming in over the next month. One thing is to benchmark our progress as to what we've accomplished, but the other thing is really the proof is in the pudding. Regardless of if you've done 10 things, if none of them worked, it's almost irrelevant. So we want to see new ideas that have at least some chance of success. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? No, you know, I'm going to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and it'll come back next month.
Okay, thank you for your time.
So you all are welcome to stay, but we are not offended at all if you choose to go home now that your item is, so it's, yeah.
Assuming you're doing homework.
We got it. Let's take a 4-minute break, let people clear out.
We do it off the top of our item and what we
Back. Did Gabe go home too?
Maybe he went to the bathroom.
Yeah, 1819 AB 1200, public disclosure for UTA, CSEA, certificated management, classified management, and classified and confidential employees. Penny.
Hello. This is the public disclosure that's required anytime a school district concludes negotiations, and it's to inform the public of the impact and to inform the County Office of Education in their oversight responsibilities in order for them to determine that it's an appropriate financial impact to the district. And what our negotiated settlement consists of with UTA, CSEA, certificated and classified management, and our confidential unrepresented employees is an ongoing salary schedule increase of 3.75% effective July 1st, 2018. This is based on the results of the calculation of the fair share formula ratified by UTA and the governing board in a 2-year agreement covering 2017-18 and 2018-19. In addition, the CSEA bargaining unit will have its classified salary schedule adjusted to include a 2-level increase to bus drivers and a 1-level increase for bus driver instructors. Additionally, level A is eliminated. And then level B, step 1, will be set to $13 an hour with a 1% increase between level B step 1 and level B step 2 and level C step 1. That in effect will ensure that UUSD is in compliance with the minimum wage, incremental wage increase requirement through 2020. All other steps maintain the 3.75 increase. Additionally, for CSEA, there's a 1-year only incentive to obtain new bus drivers by offering a payment up to $900 to new bus drivers who already have the appropriate existing driver's license or who obtain through the district training program the appropriate license and who complete 20 days of actual service in the district. And that concludes the financial impact. And we would recommend your approval of the AB 1200 public disclosure.
Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Now, we really are all over the place tonight. Back up to D2, update to 2018 5-year deferred maintenance and capital improvement plan.
Good evening. Okay, so I intend to just kind of go through this, highlight some of the notes that I think are noteworthy or that have changed over the past year, and then touch on a couple of the projects that we intend to push forward for this summer. As always, if you want me to stop and drill down, I'm happy to. Ukiah High School, the DROPS grant is nearing completion. We're doing plant outs in the next couple weeks, and then it should be finalized. This picture shows the admin building. You know, as it was installed, it gives you an idea of the amount of materials that was displaced. All of that area has a bioretention soil and basically a cleansing agent put in it. It's soil and plants, and the intent is to break down any toxins that come off the roof and in particular the parking lot. That lower photo is one of what we call a curb cut. It's the very bottom of the parking lot. That's off of the first rain we had about a month ago, and what looks like black sludge there is actually black sludge. So that's oils from the parking lot that's going into the bioretention basin. What you don't see is about a foot down from there on the parking lot side is a storm drain, so it's working. All of that goes into that retention basin. the oils and toxins get broken down and basically neutralized, and they stay out of our waterways. So really cool project, and it's working, which is great. The only other thing I'd point out at Ukiah High School, on the unfunded list, there's 3 pretty large items, and we do have approximately $400,000, a little north of that, left over from the bonds that are specific to the high school. We haven't allocated funding on those because of those large items, the idea being potentially flexing them for match. So those are out there. They're at our discretion, but we haven't identified them from funding anywhere just because the high school is in pretty good shape right now. There's no critical items on it.
Trustee Mulgard, did you have something? Trustee Mulgard, no?
No, I can follow up later.
Trustee Arkin?
Should we wait till the very end? But then I have to go back to this.
I'm your huckleberry.
For some reason, I thought we were doing something with the pool room, because it's so bad.
So
You're just really trying to get in the good graces of trustee Nelson.
That's right. But it's not even here.
No, but
He's
don't
probably gonna
tell
watch
him
it.
that.
He's watching.
Are you telling?
Yeah.
He's definitely watching.
Anyway, go ahead.
So a full modernization, I mean, a full-scale modernization of the pool room would exceed the money we have from that bond. So that $400 would not get us, it's, maybe half. Last time we kind of drilled down, we estimated about $650, I think.
So we do nothing at all? I mean, it's a mess.
So about a year ago, when we had talked about this before, we did go in, we did a complete repaint. We went in and refitted a bunch of the ventilation systems. It's in better shape, but it's, the last time it was modernized was probably about 25 years ago. I would love to do something on it, and I'm.
And we're waiting for matching funds.
Well, as we go through, maybe we can highlight some of the other some of the items we have at other schools, and as always, it's I rely on you to direct me and where we kind of put some of this. So. The other items outside of the pool room were also the weight room, which was identified as being small and not in the best condition. And then, of course, the all-weather stadium field. We got lucky this winter. This winter, I'm concerned that the field will take a beating. And again, just as a reminder, we do have both boys and girls soccer playing on it this winter. And it just got off with the football. So the field gets almost no time to rest between those two pretty intensive sports. And as you know, our athletes play to win, which means the fields do get used. South Valley High School, the admin building is at substantial completion. What that means is it's almost ready to be moved in. We have the Division of State Architect has completed almost everything. We're in final closeout phase, so everything has been signed off by the architect and by the DSA inspector. We're waiting at the request of the school to do move-in until the December holiday. I think Chris just felt that it would be a lot less disruptive to try to move everything over, and that makes a whole lot of sense. The intention right now, the next step there would be, at least right now, we're looking at talking about doing a demo during the summer, although there's a little bit of discussion around that just on how we can utilize the facilities there. And maybe the need for a little bit extra space before we get the CTE building, which obviously we don't have the funding on at this point. So we're talking about that still.
Sorry.
Oh, Trustee Arkin?
Yeah. So when we were there the other day, we kept trying to figure out, we noticed that they could use a nice big building in place of what they have, and part of what was said to us is, well, we can't rethink this because we already have plans and okay for our other CTE building. And so, is that a big deal to make a change like that?
Financially, it's not a huge deal. Where we would take the hit is in the time. So if we were to significantly redo that, we would have to go back to the state. We'd in effect have to start from square one on a new building. There's some things minor things we could do to do what we call value engineering it, basically take things out of that design without substantially changing it. But Honestly, square footage is kind of is what guides the cost of it and the infrastructure itself. So that's things like putting in a fire sprinkler system. The things we can do to kind of value engineer out would be potentially, maybe phasing back some of the CTE portions, which would be the cook stations, things like that. But I don't know. I still don't see that getting within the range that we need to be to actually put in a building. Keep in mind what we did was about $1.8 million.
How much money do we have?
That's at the very end of the slide. We do have kind of the true ups down there. So I'd suggest maybe let's go through it and we can get at the end and we can talk about the numbers. And then also the matrix that accompanies this has a really good kind of breakdown of all of our numbers. So. Eagle Peak Middle School just had almost all the roofs redone, the shingle roofs. They're on the final stages. They're replacing a few gutters. We're also at substantial completion there and almost ready for a closeout. Next summer, we're looking at phase 2 of the painting now that we have the roofs done of that portion, which is the classroom portion. We want to go back and repaint those. If you remember last summer, we did the portion of the campus that has the metal roofs. So that would be the cafeteria, gym, band building, and the admin building. Pomalita Middle School. Some of the key points that we really want to look at with this campus are the roofs are aging, particularly the SEM building roof, which is a pretty large area, and the central plant is becoming problem prone. We've also identified that the HVAC system in the gyms, particularly the gym lockers, is non-existent, and we want to absolutely want to get something in place. So we look at that I have that at 2021 because in my estimation the SEM roof building is more important, it's more critical. It's a piece of infrastructure we have. We're right on the cusp of having some active leaks in that, and because that's a kind of a keystone building there, that could potentially snowball us. I'm concerned about the infrastructure itself. So we have that targeted for this summer. That's about the estimate is a little bit north of $600,000 for that roof, and then we'd be looking at the 602, 603 modular, which is the small double classroom modular adjacent to it. The idea being doing that for economy of scale. That roof is also in poor condition, as is the coping of the music building, although that's outside of what I estimate our budget could take. So we'd be looking at the music building in 2021 as well. And if you see there, that's the new color scheme for the campus. So nice. It does. They did a great job, and some of the new landscaping in the campus center, which the grounds guys did a fantastic job on. I think come spring, the middle of the campus is going to look outstanding. Very non-institutional.
One more question.
Mm-hmm.
Did we give up the idea of air conditioning for the gym?
Yeah, it's right there.
That'd be 20, so not this coming summer, but next summer is where we have it targeted.
Oh, gym and locker rooms, not gym locker rooms.
Yeah, and so HVAC and gym
that's
locker
what I was
rooms, yeah.
confused about.
Great, thank you. Where, you have that on schedule for when? 2021?
2020, 21?
No, it's right after your sixth graders.
Yeah.
It's only $100,000?
That would be, so $100,000 is the gym lockers. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. It's not the actual gym itself. That would be the gym lockers. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
it's not on there.
The gyms have resident units, but no air conditioning. So yes, it's for the gym lockers themselves.
Yes, I would like.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've asked about 10 times about that, and last time you said that it was in the plan to do the gym. Is it not in the plan, or is it?
The gym lockers, and in talking to the site, that was the biggest. That's the one that they continue to have. That's what we have on our we called it the facilities modification. So when we have the site and it's the site admin putting in the request, that's the one that keeps coming up.
But not the
You're
gym.
just saying,
No,
you're just saying that to them, it's a bigger priority than the gym itself.
Yeah. So and it's also lower hanging fruit. The gym itself is probably about a $400,000 project to do that.
But I still
So.
like it all.
Sure.
Yes.
We'll add it to
I agree.
unfunded, absolutely,
We've
and I'll get
asked for that.
I also will get a better cost estimate on it too, so.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a high-level estimate. We have an opportunity with IES and some of the work we're doing to kind of tack on a couple more of our kind of our wish list projects. So. Okay, moving on to Calpella. We're looking at going out to bid. In fact, we should be advertising next week for the north wing roof replacement. So that would be the lower deck of the admin roof and then the north wing school building, including the HVAC units on that building. And that roof is one of the, identified as one of our worst roofs in the district at this point, along with some of the Frank Zeke roofs. We also did finalize the Prop 39 LED lighting, so the entire campus is LED lit. We did some flooring replacement and did some ADA walkway repair this summer.
Have you noticed any decrease in electricity, or is it too big of a system to really notice that?
We have noticed a little bit, although it's early days. I mean, really, statistically, you want to get through an entire 12-month cycle. But yes, absolutely. You know, just to put it in perspective, the exterior lights that we replaced used about 3 times the energy of the ones that we put in. You know, lighting, there's 2 variables on lighting, really. It's how much energy it uses and how long you have it on. We know exactly how long we have them on. It's apples to apples. Right. So we expect to see a significant decrease, and that all goes right back into the general fund. So
that's a really good news story that we can really talk about.
That would be
good news story? Just switching the lighting replacement. Yes, it
yeah.
really is.
It's
I mean, it saves energy, it saves money. People
yeah.
really.
And the lighting quality in the classrooms is also much better. I've had many comments from teachers about how different it is. You don't notice it right away, but the color render, your ability to actually see the difference in palette is impressive. So yeah. Frank Zeke. Frank Zeke. Come on, Frank Zeke. Frank Zeke's the other site that we're looking at. We're going to be going out to bid with some developed projects next week. That also includes mainly classroom roof replacements. One classroom wing is in our base bid, and it includes all of the HVACs. And then we have another one as an alternate. It's in the middle tier of our assessed roof quality. We could really put off on the one we have an alternate, but because we're going out to bid on these, we decided to put it as an alt to try to capitalize again on the economy of scale. So if the numbers come in low enough, I would recommend that we accept the alternate for that second roof. Other than that, nothing planned at Frank Zeke. We did do the playground with the support of PTO. It was a collaborative effort this summer, and if you haven't been out there, it's awesome to see the kids on it. They love it. The only other item of note for Frank Zeke is the water quality. The water quality is good, although the pipes are deteriorating, so it's rust. We have had turbidity and water quality tests in the past on it, and they've come back without any issues as far as health, but it just looks bad. And we are going to have to replace those water lines in the near future, and that is a potentially very costly endeavor. We do have the city of Ukiah water utility coming out. We're scheduling right now water testing at all of our sites within the city of Ukiah, and then the ones outside of the city limits I'm still kind of working on. But that was a grant for water quality and testing that was mandated by all water districts, and so we're working on that right now. But the city of Ukiah, as usual, is really on their game. We expect that in the next couple of weeks, and we'll have some good numbers on all of our schools.
Are you having a hard time dealing with environmental health, the Division of Public Health, Health and Human Services?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This would be, the entities involved are actually like Willow Water District, the smaller water districts, and it's just, they have a whole lot on their plate. It's an economy scale issue, basically. Small admin crew and a lot of houses to cover. Grace Hudson Elementary, we did our first walkthrough 3 days ago with the Indoor Environmental Systems crew. This is the group of engineers that are doing the feasibility study for the central plant. And I was impressed by who showed up. They had 7 people on their team out. Two of them were very high-level mechanical engineers, and they had a whole lot of ideas just on the ground. We spent about 4 hours just kind of rooting around the plant, and hopefully they can come up with some good ideas for us.
Some ideas that are not $2 million.
You know, I didn't, so they kept kind of asking what we wanted to see, and really my response is, it's not what we want to see, it's what you know, our intent is to have the most efficient operating plant that works. So they're going to be delivering us a couple options. There's, you know, obviously aesthetic concerns, but really for that site, you know, my personal major concern is how expensive it is to operate, and the potential for total system failure and having to take the entire school down as far as its heating and cooling is concerned. So remember, we've had leaks before. If the leak's in the wrong place, we have no option other than to shut the entire school down, which is a big concern. And that's still a very real possibility. So these people are problem solvers. They have, you know, their team of 7 probably collectively about 100 years of experience, and I'm hoping they come up with some good solutions for us that are cost effective. So. The only thing I have on the horizon on that for Grace Hudson is it's due for a facelift because the school hasn't been painted since it was built, so it's starting to show. And that bottom picture is one of 3 rooms that house the central plant. It's a huge beast. It's a monstrosity. So, if you just for point of reference, in the very back, those are double doors that are 10-foot double doors. Those pipes are 6 to 8 foot pipes.
Where is that?
It's, you know where the parent pickup and drop off area is?
Yeah.
There's 2 block buildings there. Both of those buildings house the central plant on Jefferson. Yeah, yeah, Dora.
By the kindergarten, down from that.
Look,
I walk by every day.
Yep.
Yeah, by the garden.
Yeah. And there's 2 buildings. One of them is the chiller, which is the cooling system, and one of them is the boilers, and then the main compressor, which is that.
It's like we could just use it for storage once we just.
It would be the price of building a storage building in California for school buildings. Yeah, that's gold.
Yeah.
And that plant is, you know, there's some possibility and options on the site. So I'm interested in seeing what they come back with for us.
Window units. We're gonna get the old. We'll buy them at Home Depot.
One for every room.
So here's my recap of the issues we have there and just the reminders. So every classroom has one of these potential problems. It's a ticking time bomb for us there. So.
Oh, my God.
So Nokomis Elementary, one of 2 sister schools, it would be Nokomis and Oak Manor. Both plants have some of the same issues. They do need new paint. Before they need new paint, though, they need new roofs on the breezeways. If we paint now, we're just going to have the same problems in a year or 2. So if you look at the schedule, I project summer of 2019. This summer, the intention is to go out to bid for the breezeway roof replacements, followed by the next year with painting, and that's for both campuses. So summer 2019 roofing and summer 2020 repainting. The sites also have their physical plants are deteriorating, and that's just the flooring, the HVAC units, the heating and cooling are past their life expectancy, and the classroom rooms themselves, while right now our sound are one of the few major asbestos containing elements we still have in our district, and that's that the original roofs were asbestos tiles. They took metal sheet roof and just encapsulated it. So when we go to replace those, it won't just be re-roofing, it'll also be a major remediation project, which is why it's unfunded, but it's not anywhere on our horizon, because that's a truly expensive process. Oak Manor, as I said, is basically the twin of Nokomis as far as its needs. And its projected timeline for the projects we can foreseeably do in the next couple of years. Ukiah, what we have identified is the painting the campus exterior phase 2. We did the front of the campus the summer before last. We'd like to go in the back and do the back. We also have the playground that still needs to be the last playground we have that's gravel that needs to go to chips. and the portable that's up by that playground that is basically non-usable, and potentially trying to replace it, although summer of 19 is probably too aggressive to be able to do it at that point. Although I have talked to Dana on this site, and that's one we can probably do throughout the school year. We wouldn't have to do it in the summer. So I have it as a placeholder, summer 2019. The intent is to move forward, and if we have to do it during the winter, in some ways that's good because it lowers it. It will lower the cost of the construction, or at least it should, because summer, you know, doing everything this summer is one of the things that makes school construction expensive.
What might you be able to do in winter? Paint it?
No, replace a room 23. It's the little modular up on the hill. It's actually a rental. It's not, it's condemned, so it can't be used for teaching. It's basically just like a kind of a storage unit at this point. So it's old, it's funky, it needs to go. And we have identified being able to use developer fees for that. So. Preschool village, nothing on the horizon. I noticed when I was going through the slides, my presentation, that I hadn't noted something on this, in that if you look at the buildings from the top down, there's two white and one kind of grayish. The two white ones are the only ones that are owned and operated by Ukiah Unified. The one on the other side is not. So. Ukiah Adult School, we did replace the roof on the left-hand side that looks pretty checkered. That one was replaced summer before last. Other than that, nothing on the horizon, although I did note that the parking lot is still in fairly bad condition. Okay, assumptions and notes. I'm not going to go through them, but if you have any questions on them, please let me know. It really just kind of goes through what we're basing the funding for the next 5 years on projection, which is RRM, the deferred maintenance that we're assuming that we're going to be getting ongoing, as well as escalation issues. And the notes have some of the same ideas, basically just noting that RRM is not just for these projects, but also the bulk of it goes into our day-to-day operations, both payroll and just all of the thousands of jobs that get done throughout the year by our operations and maintenance staff. And there's our bottom line. The question on the South Valley, if you look at total fund 26, it's somewhere down near the middle. You see the balance is 2.631 million. That's not including the 1.832 million from the project we did. So we have a little over $1 million, yeah. Any questions?
Trustee Vincent? Oh, trustee. Carry on.
Trustee Arkin brought this up, and I feel like we've kind of talked around it, but what is the decision-making process for how to spend the remainder of the Measure U funds? I mean, do we make that decision, and when? It sounds like no one knows.
We don't have, yeah, we don't have one in place. I mean, we do have some other identified issues up at the high school. One of them is, that's fairly substantial, is the flooring in our building, which is the math wing portables that were put in at the very beginning of construction. That flooring is on its way out. I have it identified a little bit farther down. I mean, we could potentially spend that on it right now. I think that the issue is that $400,000 doesn't do any of the major projects we have, so it's kind of been a placeholder. We could break it up and use it on a host of smaller projects if we wanted to. But our issue is, if a grant comes out, many grants out there are match grants, and if we don't have match to throw at it, then we potentially lose that funding. So,
So you're kind of holding on to it.
That would be my recommendation. I don't see anything up at the high school that needs immediate need that we can pay for out of that $400,000, and I think that our district at large has more pressing needs than, as much as it would be nice to upgrade the pool room, and I absolutely agree, as much as we need the all-weather track. My estimation is replacing roofs and HVAC units at our elementary schools is more pressing, because those are critical infrastructure. If those go, we have real problems with our buildings, and we don't have the funding that I would like to see to replace those as it is right now.
Just as a reminder, though, Measure U funds could not be used from the elementary
Absolutely.
schools.
So the idea would, if we were going to take that 400 and then add 200 from the general fund to potentially do the weight room, I think that $200, in my opinion, is better used elsewhere. Of course, my opinion is only one of many, so.
Trustee Montfair?
I was wondering, do we have a copy of both this and the matrix? The matrix is wonderful, by the way. Because I know that teachers don't really understand, the projects that may or may not be funded, how they're picked or selected, when they might be funded, and the cost, and the fact that all of these costs now have to come out of either these small little funds or the general fund, so that's the same money that we're trying to use to continue with program and to implement new program, to add to salaries. And I think it would be helpful if every school had a copy of this, and then they would know what's going to be done at their school and how much it costs. And it's just, we used to get, what, $300,000 more or less from the state that was allocated for capital improvements, and that's been eliminated, right? And it's all coming out of LCAP, yeah. So.
Trustee Montfair, we could definitely send this out to UUSD all via email, both documents, the deferred maintenance plan and the matrix.
I know we try and save paper, but there's something about having a copy on paper in the teacher's room that people can look at. That's just my opinion. I'll donate mine to one of the schools.
I could also, the only other thing that comes to mind is I can offer, and I would happily offer to be at the next PTA meetings with that information too, because I think it goes beyond just the teachers and making sure that, the community at large understands that.
Trustee Arkin?
What is a reasonable waiting time for matching funds? Give me a sense, like, who knows, or possibly something soon.
I pay rapt attention to every grant that comes out there. We've been looking at, there's some facility ones for the fields that we looked at a year or two ago that, we thought were going to pan out, but it turned out their match was somewhere in the line of, well, we pay $90,000 and you pay everything else for, $1 million project. So I don't have a quick answer to that or an easy answer other than that it is something that if we don't have it, we're never going to be able to utilize it. And again, right now, that $400,000, I can't imagine it serving its purpose in any one of those three items that the stakeholders at the site have identified as these are things that we need or that we really want. And unfortunately, it's maybe slightly substantial in one count, but it still leaves us a couple $100,000 short. Yeah.
Yes.
And just as a reminder, our facilities master plan, we've identified a lot of state modernization eligibility, but we have to have a match for that too. So when you look at all of our unmet facilities needs, we really need to have some good, serious discussions about funding strategies.
Trustee Mulgard?
I just wanted to say, I think in some situations, it's more of a communication decision even than a how to spend money from a facilities point of view. Because every decision we make between now and a year and a half, or whenever we float the next bond or do the next, whatever format we do it in, it's all has to be designed to how it looks to the voter.
Right.
And so I hope that that Doug and the committee that I'm sure he's already started about the next bond can work with you really closely about that, and maybe even do some focus groups with our best friends.
Aren't you on that committee?
Like that. I could be on that committee.
Trustee Barrett?
I was just going to reiterate what Deb and Ann just said, that we're going to have to, and when you look at all of the things that need to be done, and the little bit of money that we don't have any alternative. So.
Trustee Van Sant?
I had two questions, and one, I guess I'll just follow up on that. Do we as a board need to do we need to have an agenda item about the preliminary bond discussion, or, I mean, I feel like the language we keep saying is, we need to do this, so do we actually need to schedule something, and should I make that motion right now?
We'd like to put something for just preliminary discussion on the February board agenda.
Okay, so that's already on somebody's radar, yours.
It's on my radar and Penny's radar.
Okay.
Yes.
And the second question is, back to South Valley, where were we planning on funding what we ended up not being able to fund? Or were we just talking aspirationally? Did we have money set aside for that building?
The original cost estimate, when we were doing development and the numbers were short-sighted, seemed to indicate that we would be able to do the majority of what we wanted to do with
Both
that.
projects.
Keep in mind, there's a lot of things that in this county and regionally that have happened in between when that came out and now, so.
Wait, so I'm still not following. Didn't we identify some money for that building?
Right, that's the community developers fees, so.
The community development?
Sorry, yep, the Fund 26.
Fund 26, and then we have since, we couldn't do it at the price we wanted, I understood that.
Right.
So now we've just reallocated all of that money elsewhere?
No, it's sitting there.
It's still sitting there, okay. So I wanted to go back to what Bea was saying. You know, I've learned with facility things, unless you commit to them, they don't happen for years and years and years and years. And I would like to more assertively explore what we can do with that site to build something, like what you were talking about, that would be immediately useful to that site, that could evolve over time when more money appears to make it what they really want. So I'd like to have that conversation. What can we do there?
And their needs may have changed since they started the big picture as well.
Right.
So it would be nice if they, maybe, I don't know if Chris is going to be coming to talk about the big picture anyway, if he could think about
I'm
what
just
his
mindful
needs
if we
are.
never start this discussion, then we won't finish it 5 years later.
We also may receive additional community development funds, as we
Great.
did last year, and last year it was a little over 500,000, but we don't typically budget those until we receive them. We have a call in to the assessor's office to see if we can expect them again, but we have not heard back from them, so.
Because maybe it doesn't have to be stick-built, maybe it could be another modular.
Yeah, I mean, I hate modulars, but I'll go for it because I think they need something there. And, you know, that modular you put there is not so bad. So
It's a nice
it's a
modular.
nice one. So
At 1.8, it better
Can we
be.
have a future agenda item to revisit South Valley and what is possible there within our budget?
The one thing I would remind the board, just with respect to there's two critical things we really track, which is budget and then also is time as the other axis. And with schools, nothing is quick. So the lead time, you know, the cycle of a project from inception, design, through submittal to DSA, the state, and basically review and then approval is about a year at this point.
We'd like to get the ball rolling.
So-
Right, I think we need to roll the ball. No.
We'll get started on it.
So could we put that on is it the will of the board? Is there enough people who would like to see that on a future agenda item?
Yes.
Yes?
Sooner agenda.
A soonish agenda item? Add one more thing to the plate? Just, so when do you think you'll bring that back,
I'd like to talk with Penny and Gabe about what we can do soon, as soon as possible. I can't guarantee it's going to be December with the holidays and everything coming up, but I'm thinking January.
Great. Trustee Montpere?
And I think I mentioned last time that there seemed to be a really interesting, at the CSBA conference, an interesting company that works with school districts who, according to their information, had incredible success. And passing bonds. Because when we were talking about the artificial turf, and I called 7 school districts, and every single school district had done their center, their music centers, everything with a bond, or I mean, they were like, some of them had done 4 and 5 and 6 bonds. And I granted some of them were wealthier, and we've had the unfortunate situation of the fires, but I think we're gonna need some, maybe outside help to consider this. Yeah, and there was something in the paper again, because there was a fabulous article last week in the Press Democrat talking about how districts are just really up a creek because they had so much unattended to maintenance for so many years, and that the wealthier districts are not having any trouble because A, they can pass the bonds, and B, they have the matching funds sitting in the bank. All you have to do is put something out and they have it all written up in one day. But there was some talk about the legislature addressing this again. Have you heard anything about that? They did bring up one bill and it was defeated, but there's some talk about introducing another just for facilities maintenance.
I haven't heard.
Okay.
So if there are no other questions, is there a motion to approve the update to the 5-year deferred maintenance?
With the addition of adding HVAC to the Pomalita gym.
Yes.
Is what I heard on unfunded.
Yes.
I will make that motion with that addition.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gabe. We're down here to superintendent's report.
Just a couple of things. One is we had the honor of hosting Senator McGuire today. He came to Pomalita and spoke with students, and the students had great questions. They had time to ask him pertinent questions related to things that were on their mind. So it was great. He's always great with kids, and great seeing our kids so engaged in a discussion with one of our lawmakers. So that was great. Last Friday, we hosted a legislative advocate from the Association of California School Administrators. A couple of you met him. He's curious about our work around PBIS and attendance and some of the work that we've been trying and its impact on our results or lack thereof. And so it was great. He came on a wonderful day. There was a lot going on last Friday. And then so happy to see Jack. I wish Jack could hang out in my office all the time because he's so darn cute. And I'm just grateful to Ukiah Police Department for their work with us. And he's super cute. And then kudos to our teachers right now. We're in the middle or soon to be in the middle of parent-teacher conferences. And so it takes a lot of work of our elementary teachers preparing for those and meeting with parents. So grateful for all the work that our teachers do there. And then finally, I visited Nokomis this week, I think it was this week, and got to see some of the 95% group in action, one of our teachers working with students using that curriculum. So I think that's all. And then Assemblyman Wood is coming in a couple of weeks. I think he's going to come to our Student of the Month for December and help hand out some of the certificates that he always gives to the students.
Board members report. Does anyone have any knowledge to add to the board? No knowledge? Trustee Van Sant, you look like you have. No.
I don't have any knowledge, but I did have a comment. No, I have a comment before the very end of the meeting.
Trustee Montpere?
Just in case anyone hadn't heard, we elected 100 women to Congress this past week. So I just hope that we're emphasizing that in our schools.
Okay. Did you have something, Trustee Van Sant?
I just wanted to acknowledge Trustee Fernandez. I believe this is the last meeting she'll be chairing for the year. And I did want to acknowledge her excellent work. I know this is something she's really loved. And really felt like just was very comfortable to her to do this. So I really appreciate it. And you made it through the year without any super crazy things.
Yes.
So well done.
Thank you. I'm pleased that we have another 2 minutes or so and then I'm done.
Oh, I think.
Yay. Oh, so, on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And planning? Debbie?
Agenda planning is scheduled for December 4th at noon.
December 4th?
Yes, that's a Tuesday.
Okay, so Tyler needs to come. Right?
Right.
I'm pretty sure I'll be here.
And I guess I need to come, my last one. And one more, who has not been lately? Gail? You have not, can you come that day?
I'm pretty sure I can.
Okay, that December 4th at noon.
I did try several times.
Okay. Zoe, Tyler, and Gail at the December 4th at 12. Debbie, do you have anything else for us?
We have the CSBA conference coming up, and I will be sending you your registration confirmations and stuff. They sent it to me like as a bulk instead of separate, so I'm gonna. Get your hotel and all that stuff.
Okay, thank you. That's it.